Hi, NFL executives and owners. Thank you for joining us today. We are Spartan Branding, and we deal with crisis management and brand image issues. We consist of James Holloway and Ryan Jablon. Hi, my name is Ryan Jablon. I'm the crisis management expert and brand consultant. I have over 10 years experience in brand management. I've worked with various companies and athletes to rehabilitate their image, such as Tiger Woods after his infidelity issue and prescription drug use, Chipotle during their E. coli outbreak, and creating better safety standards within the restaurants, and Alex Rodriguez during his unprecedented one-year-long suspension from MLB after steroid use. I consider myself an innovator and a problem solver, and I'm an avid sports enthusiast and NFL fan.
Yeah, my name's James Holloway. I'm an emergency management program specialist. I first began my career working for the Oakland Athletics. I then moved on to working at the University of Oregon, go Ducks. And then I began working with athletes who are transitioning into turning pro. My first client was Terrell Pryor. If you remember back when he went to the NFL, he had a scandal of him selling memorabilia for tattoos. I helped him rehabilitate his image and get his career started. Just like Ryan, I'm a big sports fan and love the NFL. So there are 4 NFL core values. The first one being respect, the second one being integrity, the third one being responsibility to team, and the fourth one being resiliency. We're happy to say, that here at Spartan Branding, we share those same values. We try to, do everything with the utmost respect, both ethically, to have our best foot forward and do the best for our clients.
So NFL executives and owners, we wanted to demonstrate that we really have done our homework and understand the NFL brand. We have found that there's 32 teams across 22 states. Since the inception in 1920 in Canton, Ohio, the NFL is roughly comprised of 2,560 players at the peak, 80 players per team. During the COVID year of 2020, the league revenue dipped a bit to $16 billion. 50% of the league's revenue comes from TV deals. The NFL is the most successful American sports league of the big four. There's 31 teams that are individually owned, and Green Bay comprises the one nonprofit corporation. So when we look at the impact of revenue with the NFL, of the 4 major networks, the NFL makes up a large amount of the revenue of Fox, CBS, ABC, and NBC, and they also contribute a large amount of revenue to the ads on those networks. Now, the NFL appears on our screens every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday of the fall and winter.
Okay, so there are a few main issues facing the NFL right now. The first one being domestic violence and sexual abuse. That's an issue that we've seen for the last few years, and something that we definitely want to work on. The second one is concussions. Never before in our time has there been more emphasis on mental health. And, we're seeing a lot of young players leaving the game early because of concussions, as well as retired players having some issues. And that's something we definitely want to get in front of. And then, of course, social awareness, dating back to Colin Kaepernick first kneeling years ago, and then the alleged blackballing, with the protests this past summer. More and more players are getting involved in social justice. And that's something, the NFL definitely needs to take a part in.
So one of the hot topic issues that James had discussed was the growing concern over domestic violence. Now, when we compare the arrest rates to the national average for NFL players and men their age, 25 to 29, we'll notice that the arrest rates are fairly low in comparison to the national average. But when we look at arrest rates among NFL players, domestic violence is the most prevalent arrest at 55% when you compare it to all other offenses, just at 13%.
Here we have Von Miller. He plays for the Denver Broncos as a linebacker. Here he is marching and protesting the George Floyd murder this past summer of 2020. Obviously, it's a very charged time in our history that sparked protests around the world. And we're having more and more NFL players that are stepping up and using their platform to create social change.
Another key issue is health and player safety, specifically concussion protocol. James had mentioned that mental health is at the forefront in today's society. So we'll look at what the NFL needs to do in order to prevent further concussions. If we look at this graph, just since the inception of baby steps that have been taken with new rules, we've seen a higher reported level of concussions. And this has been due to the past from a lack of protocol, lack of awareness, players not understanding the long-term effects, insufficient rules to prevent dangerous hits, and there was collusion among teams, in order to get their best players back out onto the field. And, since these measures have been taken into place, as of 2019, 224 concussions have been reported.
Our team, our community. We all have to try harder. My great-great-great-grandfather had no choice. We have one. I pray we dedicate ourselves to be the best team we can be, working and living together.
Oh, can we touch hard? I take it, no matter what I give it to. My love looks better on you.
So here we have, and we can see just how impactful and powerful the NFL can be. A few solutions that we've come up with to help combat, the topics and the issues that the NFL is facing. The first one being to strengthen the domestic violence and sexual abuse workplace policy. That's something that I feel like if the NFL takes a hard nonsense stand, that will go a long way towards showing that, we're taking the necessary steps. A big thing being educating employees, spreading awareness. These are all things that are going to help show that the NFL is taking concussion serious, domestic violence serious, and social awareness. We've come up with, as well as social justice initiatives. As we showed earlier, Von Miller protesting, Colin Kaepernick protesting. These are all things that is out there for the public to see, and having the NFL support is going to go a long way. Have more collaboration between the players and the league, and invest in programs that give back to the community. We also want to focus on educating the players on signs of concussion and reinforce the health and safety protocol. Doing these steps, we feel, is going to help take the NFL's to the next level and help solve all these issues they're facing.
Our team.
Thank you for listening to our presentation, and if you'd like to learn more, here are our sources.